Don't put your retirement money in this one. You only use your discretionary mad money, the money you can afford to lose. That said, it's important for you to understand the incredible transformative power of this industry, especially in the medical space. We need companies like Trulieve to explain it to us. So let's check in with Kim Rivers, the CEO of Trulieve, to learn more about her business and where it is headed. Ms. Rivers, welcome to Mad Money. Thank you so much for coming on.
Okay,
Thank you. Have a seat. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, so first I want people to understand, why do your customers come in? What are they getting, and how's it helping?
Sure. Thanks so much for that question. So we serve, as you mentioned, over 80,000 patients in the state of Florida, and they come in for over our 90 SKUs that we produce in-house. So we are required to
shopkeeping units.
We're required to cultivate, to produce and manufacture, and also to distribute across the state of Florida. So we offer 90 different types of products, everything from oils, tinctures, flower in vapable formats, and we're seeing dramatic results with our patients every single day.
How to play the next big hype. U.S. federal cannabis legalization with Trulieve stock and Planet 13 stock.
Well, holy smokers, this ain't no jokers. Oh my goodness, guys. Today I'm going to share with you a bunch of Jack Jackson stocks out there. I don't think people even realize how many stocks are really in this space. I want to share some perspective with some of you out there, because I know a lot of folks don't even own one Jack Jackson stock in their portfolio. And I want to kind of share some perspective with you here at the start on why you should at least consider owning one or two Jack Jackson stocks in your portfolio. And I just got into this space about a year ago, okay? And I think it's, you know, very widely known out there that I was a Planet investor, okay? Now, my number one worst stock of all the stock is the Planet, down 76 whopping % on the Planet, 54K down on that.
There's an election next year in November. That's way over a year into the future. Why is cannabis stock already started to make their big moves? On Wednesday, Trulieve cannabis stock went up 25% in a day. So far on Thursday, it's gone up another 25% already. We have seen this movie before with Canadian federal recreational cannabis legalization. First, they made you wait a year. Then they make you lose all your gains and patience. At the end, it's the ones who still own the shares that are smiling. But it's a painfully deep in the red long wait. Warning, this is speculation only, not financial advice.
My boy Jeremy over at Financial Education has been pitching the stock Planet 13 for the last 6-ish weeks. Here's the thing. I bought a little bit of Planet 13, but I have an issue going heavy on the company. I want to explain why I'm having an issue going heavier on it.
So what exactly happened?
Very well-timed bullish bet on pot stocks today.
This one traded well over 8 times its average daily options volume, closer to 9, actually, over 100,000 contracts, so that represents about 10 million shares. There were a number of bullish bets that we saw in here. One of them was a ratio call spread, the January 6-10 1-by-2 call spread. We saw 1,950 by 3,900 of those trade, making a bet that this could recover back to that $10 level by January.
In this video, I will compare Trulieve versus Planet 13 stock. I will explain it all right after this.
How you like that? How you like that? Nah, look at you, now look at me. Look at you.
Welcome back to the Audacious Money Witch channel, where we talk about macroeconomy, stocks, bonds, and commodity markets. If you like any of these topics, you are intelligent. That's why you're here. And you know what to do, and push my button if you like what you see in today's video. Because you're already a success, it is done when you join the Audacious Money Witch Club. This video is brought to you by my website. If you are a good boy, go to audaciousmoneywitch.square.site to add more meaning into your life. If you play your cards right and completely submit, like my good boys do, then I will take you under my wing. Author of best-selling books, Goddess Cheryl. My good boys always get rewarded handsomely. You are such a good boy. You like hearing that, don't you? You want to get into the bookstore, you want it to be real, you want it to be true, you want to join the Audacious Money Witch Club, don't you? There are currently 23 states where recreational cannabis is legal. with different laws doing different things. On the federal level, they are trying to figure out how to normalize this, how to get a system across 50 states. Well, you can get a bill through Congress that would do that. Those bills didn't get very far, sadly. However, Biden is looking to rescheduling cannabis. Right now, they are hoping the HHS is to get it done by the end of this year. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services issued recommendations to the DEA on loosening restrictions and drug-based offenses surrounding cannabis, following a review request from the Biden administration last year. The scheduling recommendation for cannabis was provided to the Drug Enforcement Agency, DEA, on Tuesday as part of President Biden's directive to HHS. As part of this process, HHS conducted a scientific and medical evaluation for consideration by DEA. DEA has the final authority to schedule or reschedule a drug under the Controlled Substances Act. DEA will now initiate its review, a DEA spokesperson said. Cannabis stocks getting a boost after all of this? Both Trulieve, Cannabis Corp, and Planet 13 stock has gone up over 60% in just 2 days. If cannabis classification were to ease at the federal level, that could allow major stock exchanges to list businesses that are in the cannabis trade and potentially allow foreign companies to begin selling their products in the United States. Well, as of right now, there is a memo out to the DEA from the health department asking for this basically declassification, which is what we know has been a focus in Congress as well. You've seen the moves around the country to declassify it or to make offenses regarding cannabis less stringent. The administration's process is an independent process led by HHS, led by the Department of Justice, and guided by evidence. We will let that process move forward, White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said. That's really the focus behind the health department's asking for it to move from a Class 1 or Schedule 1 drug into a Schedule 3 and lowering the severity for its uses. There has been a lot of Congress push to get these laws moved. We've seen around the country where cannabis is sold now. It could really boost those stocks with this report if it does in fact go through. And this is just another avenue to get that movement at the federal level. There are so many cannabis stocks out there. Which stock would I buy to play this legalization run? Based on the website ranking of Trulieve.com is highly relevant. It's ranked number 2 in its category behind Curaleaf.com. It has 2.6 million total visits just in July. 53% of the users of Trulieve.com are female. People actually spend on average 6 minutes on their site choosing products to order. So for e-commerce side, Trulieve have TruScale. Trulieve has over 50% gross margin. Curaleaf and Planet 13 only have around 45%. Trulieve has consistent positive EBITDA margin. I can't really say the same thing for the rest, not even Curaleaf. The pessimism probably can't get any stronger than it is right now for the cannabis stocks. The good news is all these billion-dollar level US cannabis companies, they all have over 43% gross margin, which is at the same gross margin as Apple. Warren Buffett's #1 stock. The bad news is none of them really have a moat right now before the law changes, because the products they sell is not legal in federal level. What about management? Most of these companies are founders led, which are good and bad. The benefit is they think long term. They buy and hold their own stocks. The bad part is no one can hold them accountable for merger and acquisition. Like in 2021, Trulieve spent $2.1 billion deal to buy Harvest. That's way overpaid. They could have saved those billions and then buy Harvest today with pennies on the dollar. That's the risk with founder-led companies. Now Trulieve has to write down those intangible asset and goodwill they overpaid to Harvest. That's how they have negative operation margin in the most recent quarter. Additionally, packed on so much debt on the balance sheet, that's not pretty. Planet 13 is not even a $200 million company today. It doesn't have a scale. I don't think building the world's biggest supermarket for cannabis is a business that can be replicated. Because if Vegas is the biggest on Earth, then what's next? The biggest on Mars? Say hi to Elon.
All these employees, and this ordinarily makes us feel good, but then I see all the employees and I'm like, oh crap, that's gotta be really expensive too. Salaries and wages, executive compensation, licenses and permits, that's not employees, but here, payroll taxes and payroll benefits, supplies for the employees, subcontractors, professional fees, and miscellaneous expenses. It's almost all people. This is more, in my opinion, a people business than it's a product business. Here we go. So we have income before taxes, $304,000. But take a look what happens here. Provision for current taxes, $1.85 million. What? Think about that for a moment. Here, watch this. Let's just go over here for a moment. Think about this. You go to the IRS and say, yo, IRS, I just made $304,000. And they're gonna come to you and say, sounds good, Kevin. You owe us $1.8 million. What? Right? And the reason that is because of the excise taxes on MJ. In fact, I'm pretty sure that when they collect their revenues, it's actually the guests that are paying these MJ taxes. However, the company is not putting that into their cost of goods sold, even though in my opinion, that's a cost of goods sold. So in some sense, it's almost like they're showing you, look at all this profit we're making, oh, but we're just being taxed so heavily. When in reality, the excise tax is built into the price of the product, the customer is paying it when they check out, which means when they check out and they're like, what? I got this much MJ for that price? Dude, I'm gonna start shopping somewhere else. It starts pushing the prices downwards. So the taxation is being borne by the customer, yes, but it's also reducing the potential profitability of the company. The taxes kill them. Now watch what happens. Remove the taxation, cancel that $3 million in taxes, and you would actually get to that $2 million in net divided by the shares they have, which would give you somewhere around an earnings per share of around 6 cents.
What about margin of safety? Right now, Trulieve stock is traded under March of 2020 low. If the DEA pull through and federal recreational legalization happens, we can expect margin of safety prices for even today's price. Even after 60% move up, because they can be profitable finally. Why this 60% move up seems like it's nothing, and it's only just the beginning. Shares of cannabis companies have struggled during Joe Biden's presidency, with early gains wiped out as the prospect of federal legalization looks distant. Competition also has ramped up as more states legalize it for adult use, putting downward pressure on cannabis prices and denting margins, not to mention the gray markets. The combined market value of the 10 largest U.S. listed cannabis companies on Election Day 2020 has fallen nearly 72%. Most of them trade over the counter, most of them held by retail investors. For me, I will choose Trulieve as my ride on this long road to federal legalization. Because first, Trulieve has its cornerstone market in Florida, which timeline-wise, it will be recreational legalized sooner. Trulieve will definitely benefit from that. Planet 13 doesn't have scale. Its California location doesn't have enough traffic to justify its massive overhead superstore business model. If any new location needs time to drive physical traffic, that's not an efficient growth plan for the company. Plus, its e-commerce site is ranked pretty behind. Planet13LasVegas.com only had 148,000 visits in July. Their website is slow, and they only have less than 5,000 followers on Instagram. Trulieve's annual sale is over $1 billion. It has scale, yet the stock moved up faster than any other cannabis stock. It moves faster than a penny stock, like the planet. You are such a good boy for watching my video right till the end. Bye.